Hey guys, welcome back to my channel of Trellis and Trails Homestead. I'm Jacqueline. It is the end of 2024 and I'm just getting some thoughts together for what I want next year to look like. So I think that I'm planning a no-buy year. We'll see. That sounds a little intimidating, I know, for it to be no buy for a whole year. And what I mean by no buy is nothing that you don't actually need. Of course, you're gonna still pay your mortgage, your bills, your rent, gas, groceries, all the essential things, but nothing that's not essential, nothing that I don't truly need, and kind of see how it plays out. I know that people like to do these no-buy shortened time frames, such as like a no-buy month, no-buy week, no-buy quarter, whatever it may be. And I am gonna make this video and get my thoughts together and then sort of decide if I wanna cut it down to like quarterly and do like a quarter at a time or a month at a time. I definitely want to have a no spend January at the very, very least, because we don't usually do a lot of gifts for Christmas, but this year we got quite a few really, really good, more expensive items, things that will last us a long time, hopefully, but also things that we definitely won't need, we won't need to replace, and just things that we won't need to buy again. Some examples of things that we got this year are new cookware. We got a full new Caraway cookware set along with 3 Caraway cutting boards. And my husband also got me a really beautiful Trellis and Trails Homestead cutting board. Hang on, I'll show it to you guys. Look at how beautiful this is. It has my logo on it. It was handmade in North Carolina. And I love things like this. These are very special items to me. Also, the fact that it was made in North Carolina, where I'm from, makes it even more special. But it's just so beautiful. I love the color of the wood. It's stunning. It's a perfect size. It's a pretty large cutting board. And I'm just gonna treasure this forever. I do love it. I had already ordered myself the Caraway cutting boards and didn't realize he was gonna get this one, which is fine because the Caraway cutting boards, there's one about this size, one medium-sized and one small, and we use the small one quite often, so I'm excited to have like a set of those for just kind of normal everyday things. And then this one is kind of a special board that I would do like a charcuterie or display my sourdough breads or something like that on. I don't want to use this for everyday things, although I could, but I am just going to use the others for just day-to-day stuff. Here is my Caraway set. I have it came with this really, really nice canvas lid holder. This is not sponsored. I paid for all of this. We purchased this with our own money. But I just wanted to show you guys because it actually, the packaging and everything was so, so good. This canvas material is so heavy duty and it holds all of the lids for the one set. I have all of our pans here. And then the other couple of pots and pans here that I ordered, and the cutting boards. I'm using one right now, but I have the small one, the medium, and the large. Here's the small. Currently using it, but just to show you the size. So absolutely perfect. I love the look of everything. I love this cabinet. I just have like a large bowl and a salad spinner up here, but otherwise I have everything here organized and it's like absolutely perfect. We did get Velcro for the bottom just so that it didn't like sling against the door when you opened it. So it's attached to the door now with Velcro, and then it came with these command hooks as well, which was perfect. But it looks so good and I'm so excited to have an upgraded set of pots and pans. I also got this fancy new camera that I'm filming on today. I'm so, so excited about it. It's a Sony, it's wonderful. It has the flip out screen so I can see myself while I'm talking to you guys. If you've been following me since the beginning, you'll know that I was just filming every video on my phone. It worked out fine for the last year, but it was a little bit tricky to upload everything that I need to upload, all of the videos, and then kind of get them sent to my computer, edit them on my computer. In the beginning, before I got a computer this year, a new computer, new laptop, I was also doing all of the editing on my phone. So this YouTube journey started with the basics, and that just goes to show that you don't need the fancy equipment or any equipment at all other than your phone to start a YouTube channel. I did it for many, many months before I got a computer, and then almost for a full year before getting an actual official camera to film on. So it's definitely possible. I'm over 1,000 subscribers now, and you guys tune in every video to watch, and I really appreciate that, despite my lack of fancy equipment. But now I have a new camera, so hopefully you guys can see the upgrade in video quality now as you're watching my videos. And I'm really excited for kitchen cooking content, canning content, more gardening content, and all of that with the new camera. And I didn't get out much this year, hardly at all actually, for any camping. I hope to be able to maybe do more of that this year. I used to camp quite a bit with my husband and some of our friends, and this summer was just not the summer I had anticipated. So we did not get out. I did not get out much for any camping, but I'd like to take this channel on some adventures, bring you guys along. I'd like to show you guys some of the camp cooking and other things that we do when we're out and about. So maybe I'll bring you guys along for some adventures in the future. So anyways, all that being said, I also got some nice new clothes. This little hoodie from LL Bean is one of them, and it is so cozy and so comfortable. I love it. And then same for my husband. I got him some really great stuff this year. Some nice clothing, nice brand, some fly fishing gear, and he actually got a GoPro as well, so he can maybe even start his own YouTube channel with some fishing and camping content. That would definitely be the content that he would like to create. So we'll see what happens. I have a notebook here. I'm just gonna get started kind of brainstorming with you guys. And I want you guys to let me know, is this something that you want to see? Do you want to see like a no-buy series? I'm not going into this no-buy year with the expectation to fully buy not a single item that I don't need, because we like to treat ourselves every once in a while, of course, and there may be something that I see while I'm out and about that I want to purchase. We're not huge shoppers. We definitely do buy whatever we want, basically whenever we want it, within reason, not whatever we want, but we will buy something on Amazon, or if we go to a store and see something, or REI or something like that, then we'll buy it. But we don't just shop just to shop usually. If we're buying, I feel like we're at least buying very intentional things. We're purchasing with intention and making sure it's something that we absolutely will value. If it's not going to bring any value or much use to our lives, then we're not going to purchase it. We very much focus on multi-purpose items. So that's why basically all of my clothes, I don't have any designer clothes or anything fancy. I have clothes from REI, Patagonia, LL Bean, North Face, Fjall Raven, clothes that I can camp in, but I also lounge around the house in, go out and about in. It's easy when you live in a place like Colorado where everyone's kind of wearing these things mostly, or like when I lived in the mountains of North Carolina, you could definitely get by with wearing clothes like this. We don't live in New York City where things like this would look a little bit strange probably. So we don't have any designer items. That cuts down on expenses a lot because we're not buying super expensive things. Granted, the brands that we buy can be more on the pricey side, but we typically also don't buy those things unless they're on sale. For example, when I go to REI, there's a clearance rack and I'm very small and we're an extra small. So that's easy because I feel like I can usually find a lot of extra small items on the clearance rack. And so basically all of my Patagonia purchases, North Face, anything that's normally like a more expensive brand, I've gotten it completely on sale, sometimes even half off or like 50 to 80% off, it just depends. So you might be thinking, well, those are expensive brands and expensive items. They are, but I typically almost 100% of the time am buying these items on sale or on clearance. So I don't feel as bad about that. I actually need to do like a declutter and get rid of some of the things out of my closet and some of my dressers. I do this occasionally, some of my dressers. We have 2 dressers. I do this every so often, maybe a couple times a year, 2 to 3 times a year, and just kind of go through everything that I have, get rid of what I don't need. I purchased 2 pairs of leggings yesterday, and they were actually, one of them basically was a replacement legging for a pair of fleece lined leggings that I've had for probably about 10 years. So they're Under Armour brand. They are still in great condition, but they are not very warm, and I think the fleece is like completely gone. I don't know where it went, but they don't feel very fleece lined anymore. So they feel like a typical thinner legging now. So I got a new pair, and it wasn't an expensive pair. I got these from Sierra Trading. So I got a new pair to replace those that are actually thicker and fleece lined. I have some other fleece lined leggings that are more like very, very fleece lined, very snowy weather, cold weather. These are just kind of an in-between. I can still wear the Under Armour ones for now because they're still fine to wear for a daily legging. The other pair of leggings that I purchased are a black daily legging. I didn't have kind of a regular pair that was all the way down to the ankle. The black ones that I have are more of a cropped legging, and I like them, but of course I'm not wearing a cropped legging in the winter necessarily, or when it's pretty cold out. So I needed that black pair because I needed a pair of full length leggings, and I'm really happy with those 2 purchases. I also got a pair of sort of jogger legging that are very, very similar to the Vuori brand, if you've seen that brand at like sports stores and things. I almost picked up the Vuori legging one time at REI, but they're like $80 leggings, and it was just not a purchase I felt like I wanted to make at the time, so I didn't buy them. I got these leggings at Sierra, these joggers, and they are basically the exact same as the Vuori. The same color is what I was gonna buy, the same sort of material, it has the same feel. Are they gonna hold up as long as the Vuori would have? I'm not sure, I hope so. And they were like $16.99, I think, versus $80. So again, a purchase that I'm not sad that I made. I spent, I think, less than $60 on all 3 pairs of these leggings. So I feel like that's a win. So I say that because if there's something that I feel like I need to replace in the coming months or in this no-buy year, then I feel like that is shopping with intention. I will consider replacing an item if it needs to be replaced. I don't foresee that anything will need to be replaced. I have gotten some really, really great items over the last few years, and I'm specifically right now talking about clothing items, clothing, bags, accessories, things like that. I have a few new tote bags, a couple of just like crossbody bags. I just ordered a new pair of tennis shoes from Amazon that I was gonna wear to work. I might wear them out and about for just like walks at the park or any kind of like exercise, but I also may just dual purpose them and wear them at work and out and about. I don't like to wear my work shoes on a regular basis when I'm just doing day-to-day life because I work in a hospital. I don't want to bring germs around or anything like that. We don't typically wear shoes in our house, but still, my work shoes stay out in the garage. But if I'm at the park walking around just for exercise, I feel like it would be okay if I wanted to wear those out. So we got some really good items for Christmas, more than what we normally buy for each other. And then just gifts from other people, family and stuff. We got some really great things. So we're done with the whole holiday shopping haul. We're done with that. I feel like I shopped away this year. Most of it, almost all of it actually, from my standpoint, was online shopping. I much prefer online shopping any day for anything than going into a store to buy it. That's just my preference. All kinds of colorful markers here. I have a whole pencil box full of them. So I think it's fun to use colorful markers and things to keep you motivated when you're making lists especially. So I'm gonna brainstorm some ideas of specifically what I don't want to buy this year. Basically, I kind of already covered it. I don't really want to buy anything that I don't need, but I'm gonna go into more specifics. So we already talked about clothing. I'm gonna write on here a no buy year. I think I'm gonna try to do it for the whole year. This is just me. I'm not committing my husband to this, because if he wants to buy something, you know, again, within reason, then he can do so, unless he wants to have his own no buy year. No buy year 2025. And this is just going to be a rough scratch. I can go back into my little notebook and redo it later. I actually like to put all of my notes in a notes app on my phone. So I may end up transferring this to just a notes app in my phone where I can look at it anytime. So no buy year 2025. So we talked about clothing already. I have lots of winter clothing, so I'm gonna say no winter clothing. The only thing I may want to replace is like a summer shirt or two. I feel like I just have less summer shirts than I do winter clothes. Maybe that's because we live in Colorado and it's most of the time colder than warmer. But also, I love winter clothes. They're my favorite ones to wear. I much prefer them over summer clothes. So I tend to pick those up more often than I do summer clothes. So we're gonna start with what I don't wanna buy. So no winter clothes. We'll get back to the summer clothes in a second. I'm gonna say no shoes at all. I have a pair of casual New Balances that I wear out on a very regular basis. I have some nice boots. I have some Blundstones. I have some Sorel boots. I have another boot just from Amazon in 2 different colors that I love. It's like a waterproof, casual sort of Chelsea boot. So I love those. I have them in black and green, and I wear those out often. I have a pair of just Birkenstock clogs that I'll wear out, and a pair of Sorel tennis shoes. Those are my go-tos. Those are the main shoes that I wear. But in addition, I have a pair of like snow boots. I have a pair of rain boots. Not that I really ever need them here in Colorado. Those came with me from North Carolina. And some hiking boots, some hiking shoes. A pair of summer hiking tennis shoes that I really like to wear. They're Solomon's. I have a few Toms from, you know, back in the day. I'm still rocking my Toms, and a leather sandal. And that's pretty much what I wear every single day in the summer. I have a couple of other sandals and flip-flops, but I think only 2 or 3 pairs total, just because I wear those leather ones every single day in the summertime. So no shoes. After getting these shoes this year, I'm obviously considering the tennis shoes, the work shoes, as a 2024 purchase, because they were purchased last week or so. So that should cover me for 2025. No bags, that's a big one. I'm gonna highlight it. I have a new crossbody coming from Amazon. I ordered it before I realized I needed to replace one of my crossbody bags. So it wasn't technically a replacement, but it is now, because I realized that one of my leather crossbodies was tearing on the inside. It never was a favorite. I was just using it during the holiday season because it was a little bit bigger than my other leather crossbody bag, so I could stick more stuff in it while I was like out shopping and about. So this other one that's coming, I consider it to be more of a crossbody bag that I would use in the winter, because it's like a Sherpa lined crossbody bag on the outside, and it's cream colored, and I feel like it's the perfect winter crossbody bag. So I will have that one as long as I like it and don't return it. And I have my go-to smaller leather crossbody that I use on a regular basis. And then I have a really, really nice handmade leather tote bag. I have a couple of other tote bags and some little wristlet purses if I ever need that for like a night out or something. So I should be set on the bags. I got a new tote bag this past year to use as a work bag because I had been using the same bag for like 3 years. So that's the thing. It sounds like I have lots of things or buy lots of things, but the things that we purchase, we keep for years before we end up using something else or replacing it with something else. So I don't feel like I actually buy too much anyways, because what we buy, we use for a very long time. So No bags, and I have that underlined. I do not want to purchase those. I also just got one of the Trader Joe's tote bags for $3.99, and I'm so excited about it. I really wanted to find the mini tote bag. I can't find the mini Trader Joe's tote bags anywhere. I think that once Trader Joe's gets the mini ones, they sell out of them very, very quickly from what I've read on the internet. So I can't find the mini one, but I ended up ordering the LL Bean mini boat and tote bag, which is about the same size. It's a very small size. It's actually supposed to get delivered today. So if it gets delivered, I'll show you guys that. I'm planning to use it as a lunch bag. I just got the plain cream natural canvas color. No color on the straps or anything. So really excited about that. I'll have to show you guys. So we've got no winter clothing, no shoes, no bags for clothing. And I'm not really gonna include accessories on here because I don't really buy clothing type accessories. What I consider maybe an accessory that I've bought recently, I just bought like a new like ear wrap headband. I have one really nice scarf that I love from Target. I bought it because we went on a trip to New York City a few years ago and I felt like it would be very much used there, and it was. I used it every single day. I really liked it. And it's just like a gray and white long scarf, so you could wear it with anything. It is one of my very most valuable purchases. I love it. I don't actually wear it too much here, but again, for sort of like a night out or something a little more fancy, less casual, then I probably would wear that out and about. So I still have that, and I don't need anything else accessory-wise, so I'm not going to include anything else on the clothing purchase. We can move on to the next thing, which will be, we'll say, kitchen. I don't think there's anything that I specifically need to buy. I got the cookware, I got the cutting boards, and I am waiting for, my mom ordered me for Christmas the Caraway utensil set as well. I'm just waiting for those to get delivered. I don't foresee us needing anything for the kitchen. With kitchen, I'm actually gonna include like preservation canning stuff. I'm gonna put on here no jars. We're gonna see about that. It depends on, I'm currently starting a pantry challenge in 2025. I canned over 400 jars of food this last summer, and so I had to buy a lot of jars for that, a lot more than what I already had. And depending on how much of that stuff we use will depend on if I need to buy jars for next year or not. So I'm going into the pantry challenge with the intention of using up a lot of my jars so that I can have them ready for preservation season this year, after gardening season or during gardening season. That also depends on how much you're actually able to produce from the garden too, right? And depending on how much we eat fresh versus what I plan to preserve, or how much I give away to friends or neighbors. So there's kind of various things that go into that, but I'm gonna say no jars because I plan to empty out what jars we have, eat the things that's in them, and then have enough to use for 2025. And I don't need any other canning equipment, so I'm gonna put no canning equipment as well. Because I have my Presto pressure canner, I have the jar lifter, I have the funnel to put in the jars, I have lids, I have things like that. Actually, lids, I probably will have to purchase those. I didn't think about that until just now because I bought so many of my jars, probably 75% of my jars brand new this year. If you buy them brand new, they come with lids already. So if I'm using the ones that I had from this past year that I'm emptying out, reusing the jars, I don't usually reuse lids. That's not true. Sometimes I do reuse lids, but they have to be in like basically perfect condition for me to reuse them for canning purposes. So I actually will need that, canning lids, because I'll likely need to buy just the packs of lids. You can just get the boxes of lids and not have to buy the jars also. So yeah, we actually will need to buy those. So that's kind of a bummer. They're not super expensive. I feel like depending on where you get them, I found them between like $4.99 and $6.99 a box. and I think 12 comes in a box. So, you know, it definitely adds up if you're having to buy 200 to 400 lids again, but we'll just kind of see how that plays out, and I'll just buy them as needed. I'm not going to do a huge stock up right now. I'll kind of reassess in the summer and see what we think we need. So I have my Dutch oven for bread, for my sourdoughs. I have the bread slings that I cook my sourdoughs on. And then I have other pans and dishes for like focaccia and other sourdough items. I actually just did a big kitchen revamp because I got my new pans, my stuff from Caraway. I kind of emptied out my cabinets to see where I was going to put everything, number one, but also kind of decluttered at the same time. And I have plenty of like casserole dishes, baking dishes, and things like that. So I know I won't need any of those things. Not that that's something that you really buy on a regular basis. I feel like you can have a Pyrex dish, a really nice Pyrex casserole dish, and you can have it forever, basically. So none of that stuff is new, except I do have two smaller dishes for smaller focaccias, and I purchased those dishes probably a couple years ago, but yeah, I don't think that I'll need to purchase anything like that. I'm just gonna say no kitchen items. Let's talk about garden. Garden is a main focus in my life and in our house. And it basically starts in March for us because we do almost all of our seed starting indoors. Because we live in Colorado and it still is snowing between March and May sometimes, we still definitely are getting cold temperatures at least. We need to start our seeds inside early so that they'll have enough time to grow outside. We have a very short growing window here. I think it's like 144 days. Outside. So if I started my seeds outside at the very first sign of the last frost, the first opportunity I had to put them out, they would not have enough time to grow into anything. I do a raised bed garden. My backyard is fairly small here, so we don't plant much in the ground. Things just seem to do better in raised beds here. In my backyard, I usually do my tomato plants in the ground, but otherwise everything else is in the raised gardens. So no gardening supplies and no additional garden beds. We expanded our garden tremendously last year. We went from 2 raised beds to 6. And we built all 4 of the others. The 2 were already built by us, and then we built 4 more. We added a cattle panel trellis in the middle, and we enclosed the entire garden with rock. So all around the beds and around the perimeter of the beds is rock that we ordered. We also made a little pathway from the patio to the garden and rocked that in as well. There is one thing that sort of like landscaping wise, I think that we'll need to purchase, and that is edging. We have like a plastic edging to keep the rocks in from last year, but I never got around to figuring out what kind of edging I wanted for the garden, whether that be like stone or a metal or whatever. So that's something I need to look into in the next few months and figure out what kind of edging we will need for that, just to enclose the rock garden area. I think it would just add some aesthetics and functionality by keeping the rocks in as well. The plastic edging does okay, but the rocks still get out of that. So I think having something that sits a little higher will help keep everything contained in there and keep the rocks inside and make it look a little more permanent. So it's definitely permanent. It's not going anywhere. This is staying. Even if we sell this house, it's getting sold with it. With that being said, I just want it to look a little bit more aesthetic and permanent so that it looks like it's staying for a long time. So no additional garden beds. We have what we need. I'm just gonna actually include, instead of a separate list for some of these things, I'm gonna use like a yellow or a neon color and put what I do need to purchase. I know I'm gonna kind of star it for the garden that I'm gonna need to order seeds. I will have to go through my seed box and see what seeds I need to order, and I'll need to do that probably in the next few weeks, because if you've never ordered seeds before online, they sell out very, very fast. So I think last year I made my seed purchase in February or March, and that was already cutting it a little close. So I probably need to get that done in January this year. So to buy item will be seeds. I think I can keep it less than $100 for that, because last year my order was around $100 and I got plenty of stuff. So I'm gonna order very similar things this year, and I think I can easily keep it under $100. So I'm gonna put seeds, and I'm gonna put less than $100. There was something under the clothing section, the summer tops, that I may have to buy a few of. So we'll put summer tops up here. And then I don't foresee, like I said, needing anything for the kitchen. I also, this last year, this current year, purchased some attachments for my KitchenAid mixer. One is a veggie spiralizer. The other is actually the veggie spiralizer, and also the peeling device for like fruits and things. And then the other attachment that I ordered was the strainer, the mill strainer, to hopefully be able to mill my tomatoes with that. I haven't used it yet, so we'll see. I still have to get around to those tomatoes that are in my freezer, processing those and canning those up. So we'll probably use it then. But those are some other kitchen items that I purchased this year. I think I purchased, I don't know if it was this year or the year before, some bannetons for sourdough baking. And my Dutch oven was a Christmas present last year, I believe. So yeah, we're set on that. Let's talk about subscriptions. I'm gonna include subscriptions because I think that they're important for lots of people. I feel like they're very much used. And I like to limit how many subscriptions we have, because if you don't, I feel like they just get away from you. And next thing you know, you're paying $150 a month in just subscriptions or streaming services or things like that. So this will be something I need to kind of go through and see every single thing that we're paying for. I think I know mostly what kinds of subscriptions we have, but I probably need to make a detailed list and just see if there's anything that we need to cut out. I know for streaming services, we have Disney Plus through our phone plan, so it's not worth canceling. It's kind of just paid for with the phone bill. It's not something that I really even notice. And we do watch things on Disney Plus often, so we'll leave that. And then I got rid of Hulu this past year. I got it last year as a Black Friday deal for like $1.99 a month. It expired and I won't be renewing that. So I'm gonna say no Hulu. These are just specifics that I know that I've paid for in the past that I'm not gonna renew this year. I do not currently have Netflix. I feel like the price of Netflix has gotten really high and we just weren't using it enough, so I'm not gonna renew that this year. We didn't have it for like this entire last year either. I do pay for Stars right now. I probably won't continue to pay for that. It's usually something I just renew every year or so at a certain time. And that time is when Outlander comes back out. I don't know if there's any Outlander fans out here, but it's probably my all-time favorite series I've ever watched. I love it. This is the very last season. I'm so sad about it. I don't know what I'm gonna do actually when this is over. I guess I could go back and rewatch it again, even though I've done that a couple of times already. But one of my favorite series, and so I just renew it whenever a new season comes out, my Stars subscription, and then once the season is over, we cancel it. So that's what I'll be doing again. Although we just found another show that was just the first series that we really liked, and I know that they're coming out with a part 2, so once that one comes back out, we'll probably have to renew it again if that's something that we want to watch, and it definitely will be. So I'll say to cancel Stars once Outlander is over. And those are the main ones as far as like streaming services. I don't think that we pay for, YouTube Premium. We are very much YouTube consumers. That is our main source of television. That's basically all that we watch. So that's sort of a yes purchase. I was watching another girl on YouTube this past year who did a no buy year. Her name is Grace Nevitt. and she sort of did these green light, red light, yellow light purchases. She kind of used that system, which I actually liked. Green light was something that she could purchase and feel okay about it and feel like it was intentional, acceptable, and move on with life. Yellow light was like sort of a maybe, like if you needed to replace an item or something like that, then you could put it on your yellow light list. And then red light was like a hard no, we're not buying these things, you know, absolutely not. I really like the idea of that, and you guys, if you wanted to go watch her, you can go see what I'm talking about. I'm not going to do a specific list like that, but I'm going to consider, I guess, what I wrote in yellow, like the summer tops and the seeds, as sort of like yellow light or even green light purchases, like something that I absolutely need to get. The seeds are an absolute must. And then the YouTube Premium. The Premium is the one without ads, and just because we watch it so much, I don't want to watch an ad constantly on every single thing that we're watching. So YouTube Premium is an absolute must. It is something that we will continue to pay for, even though that's gotten a little pricey too. I feel like it's for sure worth it for us, especially since we keep our streaming services minimal. What other categories can I include? Let's talk about travel. Travel is a big one for us. We like to travel. We did not travel as much this past year, this year, as what we normally do. In 2024, we did go on a trip to Utah and Arizona, and it was a camping trip. We have a rooftop tent on our truck. We don't spend a lot of money when we go on camping trips, maybe just like food and gas, and that's pretty much it, especially if we're camping the whole time and not paying for Airbnbs. I think for this trip, actually, there were a few nights that we stayed in Airbnbs instead of camping for various reasons. Weather is usually the biggest reason why we would do something like that. And actually, I do remember it was so windy on this camping trip. We were down in like Lake Powell area and all of that, and it was incredibly windy. So we did choose to stay in an Airbnb, I think for 2 nights, because the wind was so bad. And if you've ever been in a tent when there's insane wind, you do not get much sleep. So, but otherwise, we don't usually spend a lot when we do camping trips. So our green light, or however you want to look at it, like an absolute yes for us would be camping trips, because those are very easy. We live in an area where we can camp basically anywhere. And then we have a rooftop tent that we spent quite a bit of money on 2 years ago. We want to get its full use and full potential out of it, so we will continue to use that. So we're okay with that. Of course, that costs gas money. We may end up buying food, but we usually take a lot of our food with us and just cook it on our Blackstone or over the fire or something like that. So we don't usually spend tons of money on anything like that. So I'm gonna say no international trips, and you're probably like, well, you would probably know if you're going on an international trip by now, or at least starting to plan it out. In our case, that is not true. We have gone to Iceland 3 times. The first year was 2018, and then we went again in 2023 and 2024. So we just went in May of 2024. That was our 3rd time going, and we only planned the first trip to Iceland. The other 2 trips were basically booked very quickly on a whim, 5 days in advance both times. Because it is such a navigatable area, it's very easy to navigate. It's very easy to look at a map and tell where you're going. You can drive the entire island, which we have done, the entire ring road, the entire Golden Circle, all of the South Coast, including the Westman Islands. So the only part that we haven't really traveled to is somewhat within the Highlands, like in the middle part of the country, as well as the West Fjords, where it's kind of hard to get to many parts of the year for weather-related reasons. So it would be cool to go to the West Fjords, but I'm not going to book a trip just for that, because I think it would have to be at a very specific time. Probably in the summer. You can't really access it in the winter. And then when we were there in May and other spring months, it's really hard to get to because of the mud. It's like the mud season. And it just makes travel very difficult. So I would say if we're gonna go, we would need to go in the summer to do that, because I don't wanna do the things that we've already done 3 times basically. I feel like we've seen enough of that to feel good about it. We don't need to go back. And the ring road is not something we'll probably do again, just because I feel like if you've done it once, you've done it enough. And I don't plan to go in July to Iceland. So I'm gonna say no international travel. Now, of course, there's not just Iceland out there. There's other places that we can go. But the other places that I have thought about going to, I think would require a lot more planning and research. And I think that I would just rather save that for another year. Because I've had some weird medical stuff this year with some extreme dizziness that I've kind of mentioned on here, I don't think that going out of the country is something that I really want to do within the next year until I get a better idea and better management of my health stuff. So no international travel. We can plan that later on. There's many places in the world that I would like to visit, but I don't think that 2025 will be the year for that. I do need to book a trip home to North Carolina. So I'm gonna put this on here with my yellow marker, my yellow pen, and put trip to NC, because I need to go see family at some point, just to visit, because it's been a little while. My grandma lives back in North Carolina, basically most of my family. And I'm gonna put / Minnesota as well, because my brother and his family live in Minnesota, and I always would like to see them. With his job, my brother's job, and our jobs, it just hasn't really worked out for the last few years. So I'm just gonna put that on there, because if it happens, great. It's definitely something I would like to do. And that's a trip that's easy enough to book just kind of quickly if I need to. So we will include that on our travel. So no international travel. We don't go on cruises. I've never actually been on a cruise. I don't have a desire to go on a cruise. So I'm not gonna put anything like that on here. Other than camping, I don't anticipate, and maybe to North Carolina or Minnesota, I don't anticipate any trips in our future in 2025. I feel like we get enough of what we want, and seeing cool different places with our camping trips. We've seen so much with our camping trips. So that in and of itself is travel for us. So we will keep that on there, because that is something that we enjoy. And then I'm not gonna restrict myself on really many other things, because I honestly don't buy that much. So jewelry, that's not something that I buy on a regular basis. If anything, I may replace like a pair of earrings or something like that. But I don't really wear a lot of jewelry, so that's not something I'm buying. Makeup, I have just the basics of what I wear on a regular basis, which is not a whole lot. I keep my makeup routine very minimal. And I actually do need to replace one item right now that I know of. So I will probably do that in the next few days. Not for it to count in 2024, but because I need to replace it sooner rather than later. But that'll actually be nice, because then it doesn't count as a 2025 purchase. So it makes me look like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Hobbies and activities sort of thing. This year, 2024 was a big one. I bought a lot of yarn because I did a 2024 temperature blanket. I am gonna actually film that. I'm probably gonna start filming it after I finish this video. So if you guys see me in the same outfit, don't worry about it. It's the same day probably. But I wanted to kind of just give a little update on where I'm at with my temperature blanket. Today is December 27th, so I'm almost done, but I actually need to catch up on the last like 7 days worth. Because it has gotten so large and out of control and so heavy, I don't crochet every single day anymore. I typically just bring it out and do like a week or two's worth at one time. So I caught up on 7 days last night and have another 7 days to catch up on this weekend, and I'm probably gonna do that today. Just so that I have the rest of the weekend to stay caught up and finish this blanket out strong by New Year's Eve. I'm so excited to see the completed project. I was gonna say the progress, but I can see the progress as I do it. But the completed project I'm very excited about. I'll get into the details of it in my temperature blanket video that I'm gonna make, but there are definitely some things that I would have done different and some things that I probably wouldn't do again. And that probably is another temperature blanket. I don't have a need for 2 of them. I don't think that I'm gonna do this project again. I loved it. It was enjoyable and I learned a lot. It is costly. I did have to buy a lot of yarn for it. It is time consuming, can be time consuming. It's something that I have to track the temperature every single day, so I have to remember to actually look and see what the high temperature was to track it. And keep a note of it until I get to crocheting it on the blanket. So it's just probably not something I'll do again. I plan to do other small crochet projects, but not a big temperature blanket, at least not in 2025. I'm not gonna say never again, but definitely not this next year. So again, I'll get into the specifics of that in my temperature blanket video. If that's something that you want to see, go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss it. I'll be posting that early in the new year. So hobbies, we'll go ahead and put that one on the list. We'll put hobbies / activities, I guess, because some things can be more activities than hobbies. I don't foresee picking up any major new activities that I don't already have things for. I have some indoor rock climbing equipment. I have we have like snowshoes. I have hiking gear. I don't ski or snowboard, so I don't have those things, which is fine. We have tons of camping gear, of course. We have a paddleboard. We've got fishing equipment. We have lots of things. So I don't foresee picking up any activities. For hobbies, I am gonna say no yarn unless for a very specific project. That means I will figure out what project I want to do. If I want to do an N25 first, I will see what yarn I need. I will go to the store and I will buy that yarn. I'm not gonna buy yarn just because it looks pretty and I would like to do something with it eventually. I have a couple of those where I've just, gotten yarn because I thought I would maybe like to make something with it and I haven't yet. I will have a bit of yarn left over after this temperature blanket. I have more than what I need for this blanket, so I'll have plenty left over that I can make something else with if I choose to do so. So no yarn unless for a specific project. I'm gonna put reading on here because I consider reading a hobby of mine. I don't really buy books anyways. Occasionally, if I read the book on my Kindle and really, really liked it, maybe I'll buy it in like paperback or hardback. I think that's only happened once. Or if I listen to an audiobook and want to buy the physical book version or something like that. But I don't usually reread books, so that's not a huge deal. It's more of if I just want to put it on the shelf, or if it's like a classic, or if it's like I have the full Harry Potter collection, but if it's something like that, that I want to add to like a collection, then potentially. I don't have any of those right now that I plan to add to or buy anything for, so I don't think that that will be something that's anticipated. I'm gonna just say no books. I already read probably 99% of my books on Libby. Libby is the free library app that you can get through your local library, and you can just download books. It's basically like an actual library, like whatever they have available on the Libby app at that time, you're able to borrow for up to 21 days, and then it can get sent to your Kindle or other e-reader, and you can read it on there. And it's basically like you borrowed the book from the library and you just have to return it. It gets automatically returned for you if you don't just return it early from your Kindle, so that's not an issue. But I read almost every book on Libby. I don't usually pay for books. I think that I currently have a 3-month free Kindle Unlimited service right now that I haven't paid for. It's just like a free 3-month trial. I need to check on that and make sure that I cancel it before I actually get charged for it. because I don't want to get books on Kindle Unlimited. I don't want to pay for books to read on my Kindle when I can just get them from the library. If they're not available at the library when I want to read it, I can get put on the wait list, and then whenever it is available for me, I can borrow it at that time and read it. So there's not many books where I am just dying to read as soon as they come out or anything like that. I feel like I can usually wait for any book that I want to read, and whatever is not available, there is something else available at that current time. Yeah, no books. I'm not gonna go to the bookstore. I'm not gonna buy any books. And I'm also not gonna buy any books just because they look pretty on a shelf. I did buy one book this year from Barnes & Noble at the end of this year for Christmas season. And it is A Christmas Carol. It's one of my absolute favorites. And it's just a very beautiful, like red, binded, gorgeous book. Again, to sit on the shelf basically, but you can also read it. I mean, it's very, very pretty. But I'll probably pack that up for Christmas and just bring it out as like a Christmas decor item. I think it would be fun too, just to bring it out at Christmas time, because then it just keeps like the novelty of it, like it's just a Christmas specific book. So no books, no yarn unless for a specific project, and then I don't have any other specific like craft type hobbies or anything like that that I am currently involved in. Really, it was just crochet this year. There's nothing else specific, so I don't think I have anything else to write on here. So just to wrap up, and your list, if you choose to do a no by year, or at least just to make a list of things that you would like to cut back your spending on and purchase less of, or not purchase at all for a month, a year, a week even, then your list may look very different from mine, but mine is specific to what I normally buy and normally purchase. Or at least something that I feel like I've purchased enough of that I don't need to purchase again. So just to wrap up, we've got clothing, no winter clothing, no shoes, no bags. The only thing that I might purchase is shirts for summertime. Kitchen, no kitchen items, no jars, no canning equipment. The only thing that I might purchase are canning lids. I will probably need to purchase some of those. Garden, no garden supplies, and no additional garden beds. I also just don't have the space for additional garden beds really, so it eliminates that problem. The things that I will buy are seeds, but hopefully less than $100 worth of seeds. Subscriptions, I'm not gonna renew Hulu, we're not gonna get Netflix, we will cancel Stars when Outlander is over, and I will continue to pay for YouTube Premium because I definitely learned so much from YouTube, and it's where I watch all of my homesteading content, as well as a lot of other things like no buy years. I really love to watch other people's no buy months or years, or you know, low buys even. It doesn't have to be strictly a no buy. So yeah, YouTube is where I watch and learn a lot of things. So travel, no international travel. I may start planning a trip for an international trip, but I probably will plan it for 2026, if anything. Not something that I'm thinking we're gonna do in 2025. I'm gonna say we're not gonna do it in 2025. I'm gonna be intentional about this list and just say no right off the bat, we're not taking an international trip in 2025. Actually, more specifically, we are not going to Iceland in 2025. I am just putting it out there into the universe. I'm saying it out loud so you guys can hold me accountable if you're like, oh my gosh, I thought you've been 3 times and you said you're not going again. You're right, I'm not going to Iceland again. Not ever, but just not right now. The things that are allowed for travel are camping trips and potentially a trip to North Carolina and or to Minnesota. We'll see how that plays out. And then hobbies and activities, no yarn unless it's for a specific project, and no books. I won't be buying books. And we don't have anything else, hobbies or activity wise, that we would foresee any purchases for anyways. So this is a working list. This is something that I can probably add to throughout the year. If I see that I'm wanting to buy something but don't need to, or if I think about something after this video that I want to put on here, just kind of a working list. I think for now I'm just going to keep it in my notebook until I sort of fine tune it, I'll give it the next few days up until January to really think about my goals for this and what I want to get out of it. And I don't really have a specific reason as to why I'm doing a no-buy year. I think it's really good to go into this with a reason as to why you want to have a no-buy or a low-buy year or month or whatever it may be. Whether that's to save money, whether that is to save for an international trip, pay off student loans, pay off debt, pay off your car, or whether it's just to save money. I do have a pretty lofty savings goal for this year. And I think by incorporating these things, it'll just help me reach that goal a little faster. I am a big saver. I do put a lot of intention into that, and it's definitely something that I put a lot of focus on. More so for me, I think it's actually just sort of minimalism. We have lived pretty minimal at times. Now that we have a house, I feel like we just have acquired more stuff naturally because we have a house, but we try to only keep things that have a value or a purpose. I don't keep things just to keep them, which is why I need to go declutter my closet and dressers, because I know that there's a few things in there that are not adding any value to my life and I'm not wearing them, so they're just sitting there. But pretty much every single thing that we own has a purpose. So those are my goals for going into a potentially no-buy year. And yeah, let me know if that's something that you would want to watch, or if you're more into my gardening, homesteading content, that's okay too. Just let me know. I think that no buy, low buy, minimalism can definitely go into homesteading content. I feel like a lot of homesteaders are actually just naturally minimalist too. And I think there's kind of a mindset behind that. So for me, it's sort of a mindset, like I just don't like to have things that don't add value or purpose to my life. So I feel like this content can be very relatable to homesteading content as well. So anyways, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll keep you guys updated with my 2025 goals. There are some other goals aside from no buy that I want to kind of work on in the next few days and kind of think about, reflect back on 2024, and I'll see you in the next one. I told you guys if my mini tote from LL Bean got delivered, then I would show it to you. And it did, and here it is. It is gorgeous. It's just the natural color. And it is a much bigger size than my other lunchbox. It's just a perfect little mini tote, basically. I put some Tupperware in it. It can hold several different things, drinks, whatever. And I think it's just going to be perfect for work. Even if I don't want to use it as a lunch bag, which I'm sure that that's exactly what I'm going to use it for, then it's just a great size to carry really anything in. I was looking at the reviews and people said that they even use it as like a purse or just sort of a catch-all bag in the car to bring things in. Any sort of day outings, I feel like you could use this for. It doesn't have to be strictly for lunch. I don't know. I guess these are probably washable. 100% cotton. Fall 2024. That's cool that it says that. LL Bean is still made in the US. It is made in Maine, all of their bags, so that's really cool. That this is just, you know, a USA made bag. It didn't come from anywhere else, so I love that. And it's really heavy duty. It's really sturdy. I mean, you can see it sits up on the counter completely by itself, so it has a great bottom. It would easily go into a work fridge or something like that. You can just slide it in, and yeah, I'm so excited to have it. I really wanted to replace my lunchbox that I do not like, so that's cool. And yeah, this is a great 2024 purchase and something that I won't need to buy in 2025.